Good morning. It's Lisa with Lisa Heal Yourself. And there is a lot going on in the world. And it's almost hard to keep up. It's almost overwhelming. So I want to talk today a little bit about what we can do collectively to try to heal. We know that if we don't face something, we can't heal it. So today I want to just try to face some trigger words of this pandemic. Because there's a lot of shame, right? There's a lot of accusations. There's a lot of fighting. The world is divided. There's a lot going on, and we are all divided. If we want to unite, if we want to come together, we have to start feeling things that we don't want to feel. We have to start allowing things that we are trying to resist and not allow. Because when we face something, we can heal it. So today, collectively, we're going to do a little work on healing some 2022 trigger words. I'm actually a little scared to do this on my channel. So because that's crazy, that means I have to do it on my channel, right? The fear of not doing it on my channel, of not saying a certain word, of not broaching a certain topic. You can't live like that. You can't suppress, reject, deny, try to tiptoe around things. We have to face things head on. So just as a disclaimer before this video begins, I will be using words. This is not medical or political advice in any way. But what this is, even this disclaimer to say, these are just words. I'm here to talk about feelings. I'm here to talk about emotions. And I'm going to be using words that are trigger words, words that could be censor words. And the reason I am going to be talking about this on my channel is because we can't not face it. This division is on all of us. And so it's time that we faced some of these things head on. So take a breath, take a drink, and settle in. COVID. Now just feel that in your body. COVID. What do you feel when I say the word COVID? Are you scared? Are you scared of dying? Are you scared of the virus? Are you scared? Does it make you feel alone? Does it make you feel isolated? Does it make you feel abandoned? Does it make you feel like you have to hide? Does it make you feel confused? Now the word virus. Let's feel this word virus. Are you afraid of your body? Of catching it? Of spreading it? Of ending up in the hospital? Of dying? Of losing someone you love? Pandemic. Pandemic. Just hear that word, pandemic. What does that bring up for you? Fear. Chaos. Death. Destruction. Out of control, overwhelm, helplessness, hopelessness, death, illness, contagious. Just bring up some words. What does the word pandemic? Just feel that word. It's such a big word. We've been living with these words for 2 years. What does that word make you feel? And then just take a breath. Let it go. Vaccine. Even me just saying the word vaccine makes me feel fear, scared, judged, criticized. Maybe you feel protected and safe when you think of a vaccine. Maybe you feel safe. Maybe you feel protected, fully protected. Or maybe you're confused. You want to feel safe, but you don't. You want to be protected, but you're not. And so you're still fearful. Just feel that word vaccine. Maybe you're terrified of putting something in your body that could hurt you, that you don't know what it is, that it's new. Maybe it's scary. Maybe it feels like authority, loss of control, like someone else making decisions. Maybe it feels like poison. When you think of the word vaccine, do you think of poison? Or do you think of protection? The reason why we're divided is because some people feel safe and protected. Some people feel terrified, petrified. They think of poison, harm, death, hurt. Just notice what comes up for you when you hear that word. Vaccination. It's close to vaccine, but this word vaccination, when I hear it, I think of Joe Biden saying vaccination. Accusatory, judgment, blame, division. I hear him making people wrong and bad. I hear shame when I think of that word. Some people think of it as a badge of honor, a status, accepted by the tribe. A good, moral human being. Someone who's kind and who's there for each other. And then I hear Trudeau saying, we're there for each other. And I hear division. I hear blaming. I hear shaming. I hear, you're not good enough. So to some people, it means that they're really good and moral And for others, they hear that they're not good enough. That they're dirty or not dirty. It's confusing. These words mean different things to different people. Visceral emotions, acceptance, or abandonment, all coming from that one word. Unvaxxed. The unvaxxed. Just sit with that for a minute. Unvaccinated feels different than the unvaxxed. Unvaccinated is a status. You're not vaccinated. You're not protected. You're not one of us. You're not protected from a virus. But the unvaxxed, a group, a bad, villainous group of people who deserve to be shunned, outcasted, blamed, shamed, abandoned, cut off, targeted, divided. Let's just feel that for a minute. The unvaxxed. If you are unvaccinated, what does that bring up for you? You're the unvaxxed. Sadness, loneliness, feeling abandoned, isolated, judged, criticized. How about misunderstood? Lonely, heartbroken, scared. And if you are vaccinated, when you think of the unvaxxed, really, just think about how heavy that word feels, how accusatory. It fills you with fear and blame. Maybe you feel superior, or you judge. That's the enemy. Do you feel like they are the enemy? You notice these are visceral words. Because like unvaccinated, that's just one person got a needle in their arm and one person didn't, right? They're the same person. But notice, if you're unvaccinated and you hear the word the unvaxxed, or if you're vaccinated and you hear the word the unvaxxed, hear the division. It means more than just someone put a needle in their arm and someone didn't. Right? These are human beings who are fundamentally the same people. But what do you feel? What viscerally do you feel when you hear those words? Do you have an enemy? Do you blame? Do you hate? Are you filled with hate towards the unvaxxed? And if you're unvaccinated, do you feel hate towards the people who are trying to force you? Just feeling these visceral words, these visceral feelings, fear, shame, guilt, anger, rage, hate, abandonment, loneliness, isolation. On both sides, let's feel these words. Brings up a lot of heaviness, right? We need to feel these feelings. We need to be able to say these words, right? Without fear. Censorship. What do you feel? Censorship. Maybe you feel unheard, unseen. Maybe you feel small, silent, helpless. Or maybe censorship represents something good for you. Maybe you want somebody to be censored, but not you. Maybe censorship means jail, loss of freedom. Maybe it means justice. Censoring someone might mean justice for you. You're the arbitrator. You're in a position of power. Maybe you feel powerful. What about misinformation? Disinformation? Just think of those. Information. Misinformation. Disinformation. Opinion. Thoughts. Feelings. Emotions. Facts. Experiences. Events. What comes up when I say the word misinformation? Maybe distrust, or like you want somebody to be punished. Take away their freedom, take away their rights. Maybe you think it's murdering people to misinform. Sit with that. There are people out there that feel this. Misinformation. Just information that may or may not be true, that can be fact-checked and decided on. Misinformation. What do you feel? Censorship. You glad? Do you feel safe? Does it make you feel safe and right and powerful? Or does it make you feel weak and fearful that you don't have all the information? Fearful that they're suppressing sides of information, judgment, criticism, unethical, destroying people, taking them down. Some people think somebody who says something is a murderer, and other people think that they're unethically suppressing freedom. Let's just think about how big these differences are, how big these feelings are, these emotions are that come up around misinformation and censorship. You might feel justified. And you might feel completely denied, unheard, wronged. Think about how deep these are. Feel it. Feel. When someone says to you, looks at you and attacks you, feel attacked? You just said misinformation. These buzzwords, vaccinated, unvaccinated, vaccine, COVID, pandemic, virus, the unvaxxed, censorship, misinformation, freedom. Let's just feel these words for a minute. They are bringing visceral feelings to the surface. They're dividing families, friends, husbands, wives, parents, children, teachers, students, employees, employers. Mistrust, right? They're building mistrust. Censorship. It's either an attack on freedom or a protection. A protection against words, against feelings, against someone's opinion. Truckers, protesters. What do you feel when you hear the word protest? Protesters. Do you think of misogynists and racists, terrible, bad people, transphobes? Is that what you think of when you think of a protester? Violent, bad. Or when you think of a protester, do you think of ethical, standing up for freedom, standing up for choice? Hero. A hero. Standing with integrity, standing for your beliefs. Standing up for what's right. Being allowed to speak your truth. Express your opinion. Ask for what you want. These are two different ways to see protesters. Right? The truckers. Again, right? Truckers. Such a trigger word right now. People. Fathers, uncles, dads, sons, brothers, driving. Heroes. Salt of the earth, people getting our goods back and forth? Or do you see bad guys, violent criminals? Do you see, what do you feel when you think of the word truckers, protesters, the unvaxxed? Are you contributing to uniting the world, or are you contributing to dividing? Let's think about pharmaceuticals, the pharmaceutical industry. Wow, it's a big word, isn't it? People see these differently. Have you been helped by pharmaceuticals? Did they save your life? Do you feel protected and safe with pharmaceutical medicine? Or do you feel harmed, endangered, that they're out for profit, that they're criminals, that they have hurt innocent people? Have you been helped, or have you been harmed? Do you know someone who's been helped? Do you know someone who's been harmed? Going to be different feelings. Have you donated to pharmaceuticals? Are you making money from investments? Are you part of the industry that makes billions and billions of dollars? Or are you somebody who's losing money, who's losing health, who's losing their rights, their choices? Let's talk about doctors. Do you feel safe and protected and loved and cared for, nurtured. When you think of doctors, heard, nursed, loved, healed, do you feel that way when you think about doctors? Or do you feel abandoned, misdiagnosed, misunderstood, rejected, not listened to, not heard? Do you feel mistrust, or do you trust? Right? It comes down to whether you trust or whether you mistrust, based on thoughts and feelings and experiences. We're all the same people, but think of how these trigger words are dividing us. Like, I'm afraid this video will get pulled down, censored, labeled as misinformation, when I'm only talking about feelings, but I've said words that are taboo, words that you're not allowed to say, words that can get you and your life destroyed and ruined and your videos pulled down just for having the audacity to speak them. Control, safety. So we cannot heal what we don't face. We must face these words. We must speak these words. We must take the emotional charge out of these words. They're just words. Vaccinated, unvaccinated, it's just a word. But the meaning, the feeling, the emotion, the experience, the labels, the criticism, the judgment, the shame, the guilt. This is what we have to feel. We have to be able to speak these words, feel these big emotions underneath these words, and let them go. We want to let go of the emotions so that the words don't have meaning anymore. The words aren't filled with a charge, right? You feel those charges, those emotionally charged words? If we allowed ourselves to sit and say those words, feel what comes up for us, and let it go. Like, you're safe. You're safe in your own body. It's okay to speak words. It's okay to make your own choice. It's okay to have your own feelings. We don't need to impose them on others. We don't need to blame others. We don't need to shame others. We don't need to criticize others. We don't need to label others. We don't need to destroy others. We don't need to take sides. We don't need to divide. We don't need to have one group of people over here and one group of people over here. These are just words. If we could all work on feeling our own feelings that come up with these words, and then releasing that charge, releasing those emotions, releasing those. We all need each other. Human beings need each other. Love, peace, joy, happiness, safety, connection. I'm going to say that one again, connection, unity. These are the words that we need to have the emotional charge on. We need to be so fixated on the meaning of those words, the bringing together, the uniting, and letting go of the visceral charges that elicit fear and rage and anger and shame and guilt and everything that goes along with those other words. Words that are dividing us unnecessarily. Words that are dividing society, our country, our world. Words that we have no control over. We control us, our thoughts, our feelings, our actions. But we don't need to judge others. If we can let go of control. If we can let go of our own fears, our own expectations, our own judgments. If we can take care of our own wants and needs and let go of our own fears, what makes us scared? Maybe when you hear the word vaccine, you feel safe, and others feel fear. Unvaccinated, you might feel fear or you might feel safe. Vaccinated, you might feel fear or you might feel safe. This is not ours to judge the feeling that those words elicit in other people, but it is our job to stop using those words to divide, criticize, judge, shame, and blame others. It is time to put those words aside. Those are the old words. Those are the words of 2020, 2021, and the beginning of 2022. The words of 2022 and 2023 need to be love and peace and unity and understanding, connection, patience. We need to allow everyone to make their own choices, everyone to have their own thoughts and feelings. If we can stop blaming, if we can stop shaming, if we can stop placing our own expectations on other people, if we can stop placing our own fears on what someone else does, if we can take responsibility for ourselves and only ourselves and let go of everything else, then we can unite the world again. This world can live in peace, in love, in connection. Just think about it. War, invasion, Russia, Ukraine, Trudeau, Biden, Trump. Hear those trigger words. China, World Economic Forum. These words mean different things to different people. And as human beings, we want to self-protect. We are all in this to self-protect. Some things make us feel protected and they make others feel unprotected. We need to take responsibility for ourselves. Okay? We need to spread truth and love and light and peace and forgiveness and connection in the world again. And we need to deal with our own triggers, our own feelings, our own emotions. We need all information. We cannot suppress, deny, reject, disown, censor. We need all of it so that we can feel all of it, so that we can sift through all of it, so that we can think about all of it, we can feel all of it, and we can come to our own conclusions. We want to feel free. We want to feel safe. We want to feel protected. We want to feel loved. We want to feel accepted. We want to feel connected. These are the feelings that we all want. Okay? And nobody wants judgment, shame, guilt, blame, fear, worry, anxiety, helplessness, hopelessness, war. I mean, these are not things that any of us want. So it's time that we faced our triggers. It's time that we faced these trigger words and started to take the emotional charge out of them for our sake, for our family's sake, for the world's sake, our country's sake, for everyone's sake. Every person can stop giving these negative emotional charges to these words and start to put forward new words, words that can heal, words of healing. So I hope this video has been helpful. I hope that you will work on this. This is not a one and done. So we need to work at this every day, and we need to collectively let these words go and move towards new words, better words, more healing words, words of love and peace and freedom and light and joy and connection and understanding and all the things that we want as human beings. And we need to work at this every day. So again, I hope it's been helpful. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, Do all the things, hit the bell, whatever that means, and I will see you in the next video.